What's up everyone, welcome back. So a lot of times people ask me this question, what succulents would you suggest for so and so climate or for so and so temperature? Now guys, it might sound like a very easy question, but it is very difficult to answer because there are a lot of factors that depend upon that. And the most important thing is your environment, your climate, the temperature. All of these play a very important role. What I can do is max to max, I can give you some easy succulents, but then it all depends upon your environment and climate. Now, why is this environment and climate such a confusing thing? The reason is because we live in a different probably a different city, different continent, different country. So everything changes as per the area that you live in. Like for example, in my city itself, I'm able to grow these succulents, but a lot of people are not able to grow succulents or are not able to maintain the color on their succulents. Even though we are in the same city, we have the same environment, but still, because it all depends upon a lot of factors like your soil, how you tend to water, the type of container that you're using, the amount of sunlight that you're providing to your succulent. All of these things play a very important role. Just by suggesting a succulent is not going to help. I have suggested a lot of succulents for people from my city, but they're not able to keep the succulents alive. So a lot of factors play an important role when you're growing succulents. So it's not very easy like I can just give you a name of a succulent and you're going to buy it and it's going to do quite well. If I have to give you some information about my city, so you can get a fair idea of what kind of environment I live in. So we have 3 seasons. We have summer, monsoon and winter. During summers, the temperatures can rise all the way to 35-36 degrees Celsius. The daytime humidity is low and nighttime humidity is high. If you're going to ask me what is the percentage, I would say anywhere between 40 to 50% of humidity during the daytime, and during the night it is around 80 to 90%. And that is the kind of humidity levels that succulents love. More humidity during the night, less humidity during the day. Now talking about the monsoon season, this can last from June until November. So this is an entire wet period wherein it tends to rain. There isn't much sun. There's a lot of moisture everywhere because it rains. And then we have the winter season, which is not very intense. It's very mild. If I have to give you the winter temperatures, it is going to be 23, 24 during the day. And at night it is going to drop all the way to 17-18 degrees Celsius. Yes, that's how the winters are in my city. They're very mild. In some countries this would be like a summer environment or a summer season, but in our city this is how the winters are. So they are very mild, and hence probably that's why most of my succulents do not hit dormancy. They still flower because it's very comfortable for them. Be it summers or be it winters, they are absolutely comfortable. So I'm just going to give you a general idea. This is something that I have learned from my experience. Now always remember, if you are a beginner, you would require at least 1 year's time to understand the requirement of a succulent. That's why I always tell beginners, do not rush with succulents. Just get 2, 3 or maybe 3 or 4 succulents. That's about it. Give 1 year's time for you to understand what are their needs. A lot of people buy 40 succulents at one go, and it is going to be extremely difficult for you to understand. You need at least 1 year's time to understand how they are reacting to your environment or climate. Now, if I have to give you a general idea, I have some bunch of succulents over here. We're going to start with the first one. So now these are mostly hybrids. I would say 70 to 80% of succulents that we buy are all hybrids. So these succulents would prefer a temperature that is going to be between 15 degrees Celsius all the way up to 32-33 degrees Celsius. Nothing more than that. Maybe 1 or 2 degrees more, but then you have to be extremely careful. But an ideal temperature for these hybrids is going to be between 15 degrees Celsius all the way to 32-33. They are going to be comfortable in that temperature range. Now these include aguides, Echeveria hybrids, your Pachophytums or Pachoverias, Graptoverias, mostly all of these hybrids. Then we come to something a little bit more easier ones. Now again, here the temperature would be anywhere between 15 degrees Celsius all the way up to 35-36 degrees Celsius. If you have a temperature range of this, you'll be able to grow a lot of succulents. So you have sedums, again you have echuarias, you have graptovarias, you have crassulas, graptopetalums, graptopetalum purple delight, you have sedum adolphi. Now a lot of people also ask me the names of the succulents that can be grown. It all depends because there are so many types of succulents, so it's going to be very difficult to name each and every succulent. However, I have made a playlist, you can check the playlist as well, but there are a lot of succulents and it is very difficult to advise each and every succulent to everyone, because my videos are being watched in different countries and I have never visited those countries, so it's very difficult for me to understand what kind of environment you would have and suggest you a succulent as per that environment. Because the most what I can do is I can give you information based on the experience that I have of growing succulents in a type of environment, because 15 degrees Celsius to 36 degrees Celsius is the kind of environment that I have generally. So most people might also have a similar environment, so you can kind of use these succulents in that. Now you might have realized I'm not talking about temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius because I have never experienced that in my city. The minimum is 17 degrees Celsius or 15 degrees Celsius, nothing less than that, and we don't experience snowfall or frost. Fog but not frost. But if you are from a country or from an environment that has a range of 15 to 36, you will be able to grow a lot of succulents. And talking about humidity, it's dry during the day, more humid during the night. So this is a very good environment for succulent. In this kind of environment, you will be able to grow a lot of natural variety succulents as well as hybrid varieties of succulents. So up to 36 degrees Celsius, you have a lot of options. Now coming to anywhere between 15 degrees Celsius all the way up to 45 degrees Celsius, you will be able to see very less options. I can put one option over here, and that is going to be our Graptovaria marpin, because I have seen people growing Graptovaria marpin even in 42 degrees Celsius of heat. So in this section, that is from 15 degrees Celsius all the way to 45 degrees Celsius, you have very limited options, because in such environment the humidity levels can also be very high. Most of your succulents will perish the moment the temperatures rise above 40 degrees Celsius. So your options are very limited. You can grow haworthias, you can grow aloes, you can grow cacti, but your echuarias and your hybrids are not going to survive in this kind of an environment. So you are left with very little option just with haworthias. A lot of people don't like haworthias, and I can understand why, because they don't change the color, they don't look very colorful. But there are also a section of people that love haworthias, maybe because they don't have an option of growing any other succulents apart from this. So now again, another important thing, haworthias are not basically succulents. They don't fall under the Crassulaceae family. They have a different section. They do have succulent like features, but they are not actually succulents. Like how our graptovarias or crassulas or sedums are. Haworthias have a different genus, so they do not fall under the Crassulaceae family. Probably that's why they are able to handle much higher levels of humidity and much higher heat. So if you are from a coastal environment wherein the temperatures are very high, the humidity is high, even during the day, even during the night, so haworthias and aloes and aloeworthias are going to be your best option. Graptovaria marpin as well will do quite well, but you will have to be extremely careful while taking care of them. And of course, the soil has to be something that is very loose, porous, and tends to dry very quick, because you are from an environment that is very high in humidity, so it's going to be very difficult for you. But again, there is an option. If you still want to grow succulents, then the last option is to move them indoor, put a good quality of grow light, and then you'll be able to grow your other succulents as well. But always remember, guys, this is another information that I wanted to give you. It's not necessary that under the grow lights the colors are going to be this strong, because these succulents are out in natural light, in morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours or 6 to 7 hours under the natural sunlight. That's why the colors tend to appear more stronger. Probably under the grow light they will stay compact, but they might not have such intense colors, because Of course, that is an artificial light. These all colors are there on the succulent. It's because of that natural direct sunlight. I know it is very tricky to understand succulents, but trust me, once you get an experience with them, they are quite easy. The initial period is very difficult. As I mentioned earlier as well, for me as well, it took a very long time to understand them. I think 1.5 year or even 2 years, I was still struggling with the soil mix, but eventually it fell into place. But yeah, for 2 years I was only struggling with my soil mix. Forget about growing succulents, the soil mix was a major issue for me. But over the period of time, I learned with a lot of trial and error, and today here we are. I'm able to grow a lot of succulents. Hardly I have issues with overwatering. That can be during the monsoon season. Mostly I have issues with is dry rot, because I tend to forget to water my succulents. But overall, I can say that I have a complete control over my succulents, and they do quite well. So the rate of casualties are very less compared to how it was when I initially started. Those days succulents used to die like every other week. It was a very tough time, but today things are much under control, and I'm able to grow a lot of succulents. And this is purely based on the experience, the trial and error that I've gone through. So a lot of people, they just start with succulents, and within 2 or 3 months they start complaining that their succulents are dying, and they're not happy with their succulents, and they don't like succulents. So you need to understand, it is a very long process. Always start slow. Go with 1 or 2 succulents and buy them in the right season, which is during the winters, because it's much easier in that period to take care of them. Don't buy when the temperatures are very high in the peak of summer, because they also need some time to adjust. And at times, even after all this, your succulent will still die. There is nothing wrong with that. That is what happened with me as well initially. After all the things, at times succulents used to die, and that is absolutely normal. This is what gardening is all about. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.